And last, definitely not least, near. What do you have for us?
Wow. So I watched Pon no Michi, also known
Yes.
as The Way of Pawn. Um,
Yeah. As the resident Mahjong head, I bequeath upon you the
yeah.
Mahjong series.
Um, so this is a um, girls in a club anime. Cute girls doing cute things type beat. Um, where you know, I guess the club, quote unquote, is a mahjong parlor. The basic synopsis is the main character, um, Nashiko Jupensha, gets like kicked out of her own house because she's too loud, and then just to like look for somewhere else for her and her friends to sort of hang out and have fun. And her dad calls her and is like, "Hey, I used to run this old mahjong parlor. If you like clean it out, um, hang out there." Um, and they do, and she discovers an automatic mahjong table, and she finds this golden tile. When she puts it on the table, a talking bird comes out of it,
I,
and he says he's the soul
What?
of mahjong.
what?
Wait,
Um,
who's the voice by? Sorry, do you know who is it?
um, Akio Otsuka.
Oh
Oh,
shit!
it's name?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Um,
Pretty good.
but the catch is only she can hear him, right?
Oh, she's
Hmm.
crazy then.
Yeah, so uh, some shenanigans ensue. They end up calling the bird Chunbo. Um, and then
The Chonbo in Mahjong. Fire.
uh, from what I know, and granted, keep in mind, I started playing Mahjong like less than a year ago, I think. Um,
Was it Mahjong Souls?
yes, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um, but from what I know, a Chonbo is if like you sort of make a call or like you call a winning hand, but it's not actually a winning hand, right? So you kind of just like fuck yourself. You make like a huge mistake. Um, I'm pretty sure that's a Chonbo. Um, but yeah, they decided to start playing mahjong, because the main character has never played mahjong. Uh, but the other two characters like have some basic knowledge. So they go over the basic rules, the very 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 basic rules, like the absolute fucking bare minimum, very quickly, and then they play mahjong.
Can I ask you just very, I don't know, I guess this, I don't know how much of a quick question it will be, but I feel like it's slightly important. But how do they talk about basics? Because I know we had a little bit of a more of a casual discussion back where it's like um there are kind of like two ways to teach people where it's like first you like the first way kind of is like you go into the vocab, and the second is like you don't go into the vocab and you're like, okay, it's a dragon and you know what I mean, you need the head and you need the body,
Yeah,
right?
so
Which way?
I never went into the vocab when I learned. It
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
for me it was like, yeah,
For
you just
most people
like
it's better to not do that.
yeah, you just like match three and you'll kind of just pick
Yeah,
it up as you sort of
you
go
make the
along,
cutest
right?
dragon. You make the
Yeah, pretty
cutest
much.
dragon, yes.
And so the way they describe it is they go over the names of the tile sets, right? Like the suits effectively. Um
Okay.
and then they pretty much outline the basics of a win con, right? Which is you want four uh sets of three and then a pair, right? Um so like a one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, and then another one, two, three, um, and then a pair of like whatever, right? Uh,
Right.
and that's like a win con, right? Um, and that's kind of like all they really go over initially. They don't really go over like honor tiles and stuff like that, like some of any of the I guess specifics. Um, and then they start playing, right? And they realize they don't have a fourth, right? Because it's three girls. like initially. Um, and then um, the main character goes like, well, the bird can play. and
What?
they're like,
Okay.
you're insane. You're psychotic,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And then he plays, and then they're like, damn, this bird can play. That's crazy.
Oh
Um,
shit.
yeah, it's a you will never be balling moment. But
Can I can I also ask how, sorry for the tangent, but how, this may seem like a vague question, but how is the play anime? You know what I'm trying to get at? Is it like
yeah,
super long
so
drawn out like Majin Ball Z Saki kind of shit, or like how is
So the first game they play is schizophrenic. Like genuinely, it's psychotic. So the
what
first game
happened?
they play is they don't show the hands, right? They don't
What?
really show the hands. They don't really show the turn order. They're kind of just doing shit, and
What?
they're just like randomly referencing like Kaiji and
Things. Yeah.
Saki, and other like mahjong manga.
See, this is the fucking problem. This is the problem. I know I'm like doing like a tangent in a tangent,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's like this is the fucking problem that I kept mentioning because so many people, like, or not so many people, everybody in the that is like anywhere related to making some sort of mahjong series these days, whether it's a mahjong solo anime, this or whatever future series, right? They will forever be haunted. They are forever living in the shadows of Kaiji and Saki on
yeah,
like both ends. And like they're in this fucked up situation, catch 22 situation, where they have to balance having cute girls or cool characters or whatever, and they have to make these Kaiji and Saki references too, so these fucking nerds go like, Kaiji Saki reference? And they have to explain Mahjong and make it seem cool to an audience that may not really give a fuck about Mahjong beyond Kaiji and Saki references.
yeah.
So,
So yeah, the first game, like they don't really play mahjong, right?
yeah, yeah.
They kind of just throw tiles down, and they make funny faces that look like Kaiji, um, or they do like over
Mahjong Ball
dramatic
Z.
things
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
Saki, um, and then they sort of get interrupted, and they're like, "Wow, look at the time," and they don't like finish the game. And then
Yeah.
the bird sort of looks at uh, the hand that the main character had before they stopped, and it was like like one tile short of like a Yakuman, I think. And they're like, "Damn, beginner's luck is crazy." For those of you who don't know, Yakuman is like god tier hands.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
But
is the royal flush.
yeah. Um, Outside of that, it's pretty much just straight, you know, girls in a club doing things. The second episode introduces another character. She's sort of like I guess more like a posh like girl, um,
Hmm.
who she gets a bit of backstory, or like when she was a kid, she used to hang out at like that specific mahjong parlor with her parents when they would play, because
Oh,
it's
so
like
she's like the glasses girl in Saki. Like,
yeah, sort of.
yeah,
But other than that, I mean, the characters aren't really like deep or anything. They don't really have like, you know, motivations or reasons to
yeah.
play
Or
mahjong.
it
They
exists,
kind of just they kind of
really?
just
Yeah.
do they kind of just do stuff, and they're like, yeah, mahjong's fun. Um,
There are two modes to each of these characters. They're either
yeah,
A, exist in the ether, or B, playing Mahjong.
yeah. Um, and the main character especially is kind of like immensely retarded. Like she's kind of like a single cell organism in terms of like thought processes going up in her head. But
Hey, she
yeah,
can play Mahjong,
it's
though.
it's really like bog
Do
standard,
they
right?
do
Like
they show do they show in during like the play or like when they're talking with each other with each other? Do they kind of specifically delineate like differences in play style between the characters or like what's, because I know Saki.
um Kinda, sorta. So the main character is very much like keep in mind, like when they're playing, they're like skimming over a lot of it, right? Like it's not going like hand by hand. Like the playing is sort
Is
of
this
like
a
a
short? This is not a short though, right?
no, it's full.
But like, if they're not focusing, wait, hold up. If they're not focusing on the mahjong game, really, like not really throwing out like a lot of trivia, right? Or and if they're not
Well,
focusing on
keep
the
in mind
characters, what are they focusing on?
they throw out trivia, but it's not like um it's weird, right? So it's not like informative. It's not like informative trivia. You know what I mean?
Okay,
It's kind
yeah.
of just like mahjong
Oh, mahjong!
players.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of just like mahjong players talking about mahjong in a very casual sense, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I made this call. It was fucking retarded that I made this
Yeah.
call. Like it was an
It's
absolutely
like
idiotic call, but it worked out.
it's
So
like what mahjong players would say in earshot of non-mahjong players, so they feel cool. It's kind of like that.
yeah, kind of like it's very like you know, um, like yeah, like that was a bad Ricci, but uh, you know, because it worked out, it was actually all calculated because I knew
yeah.
that you would drop the west tile because it was a Ricci trap, and it's like yeah, but there was only like 3 tiles left in the wall, so that's fucking bullshit. Um, but it's kind of like that. It's not really an informative thing.
They're just
Again,
saying stuff. Yeah.
yeah, the playing is kind of just like, oh, this like thing happens, and then we're gonna sort of like talk about this like sort of I guess interaction
Mm.
with like the tiles and like the game and sort of like the thought processes that would go behind um sort of making a call like that. But at the end of it, it's kind of just like, yeah, we're beginners, so we kind of just do retarded shit, and sometimes it works out. Um, and here's like a random piece of trivia in how like you know, back in the quote unquote old days before automatic sorting tables, you could just straight up fucking cheat by stacking your tiles in a certain way, right? Um, yeah, it's weird stuff like that.
I what a kind of I mean, this seems like an obvious question in a sense, but how and it almost seems like a cruel question also. But where is the value in watching this series? Is my question, and what I mean by that is like you hear this premise, right? It's like the girl is playing mahjong, and you go into it, right? Like, what is the series doing such that you're like, oh, I want to watch the next episode of? You know what I mean? It's
Um,
I don't understand because it's like the
Nothing.
balance seems very yeah the balance seems very iffy because you're not really attracting the people who are super mahjong nerds, right? And would be like, oh shit, like they are legit talking about real mahjong things that happen, and is it completely bullshit, right? But it's like you're not really also doing like enough of the cute girls plus character stuff to be like to attract like the super casual end. But then it's like the mahjong stuff is also kind of vaguely not balancing with the. So I don't understand like what's the balance and like what are they trying to aim for? Is my question. Like it's obvious that they have a in their hands a mahjong anime spin that ideally wants to beat Saki, wants to beat Kaiji, whatever, right? But they have no idea beyond that of like what their objective is, what their niche is, where they have their edge. You know what I mean? Compared to Saki and Kaiji, I it's very vague on where this series wants to go, and it doesn't know where its edge is, if it even has an edge, which I don't think it really does. But
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think there's much here, right? Because like
Yeah.
the character interactions are very basic, like, one girl's
Yeah.
dumb, one girl's like not as dumb.
because even Saki, despite it being Mahjong Ball Z and all this stuff, it still spawned all these different um Yuri kind of ish series and had these characters go kind of be developed more in depth and stuff like that, right? And it's not.
I mean, Saki also had like the tournament arcs and stuff, right? Where
Yeah.
they were like playing mahjong, right? For the goal to win mahjong, right?
Mhm.
For this, it's very much like, oh, we're just having fun, haha. And it's like that's fine, right? Like that's cool. But outside of like, you know, unless your brain is wired in a way to where you just sort of see anime girls laughing on the screen, and you're like, yes, this is good.
Yes.
I don't really think like there's anything here beyond that, which is I feel like it's a bit mean to say because it's like this series isn't like bad. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I'm watching it and like this is shit, right? Because the comedy is not bad.
Mhm.
The reference humor is like there for people that like that. Although it's a bit sparse and schizophrenic in the pacing. Although granted, I don't know how much of that is due to the subtitles because finding subtitles for this series was hell. Because apparently this isn't being picked up by like any of the streaming services, right? Like this isn't picked up by Crunchyroll. This isn't
Oh.
picked up by High Dive, and the only
Oh, it's
subs,
because it's like they want to. It's very like not internal, but it's a very separate project because it's not
yeah,
like
it
because I
seems to
know
be.
Michi has its own like YouTube channel and it's like its own weird multimedia project,
Yeah,
but it's not like a
and
major multimedia project.
yeah, and the only like official subs seem to be from Billy, right? So, and the only fan subbing group that I can see
Mhm.
is like unironic straight up meme subs. Like to the point where like they're using like yellow
Like girls in
subs.
Panzer,
Like they're
yeah,
using
girls in
yellow
Panzer
subs as
level
like a
subs,
joke.
yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know how much of like the humor being a bit like disjointed is due to the subtitles. Um but yeah. Um I'll quickly go over I guess the audio visuals. The visuals are, I think, surprisingly like decent. The girls are cute. They've got sort of these cute. They do like the cute like triangle smile a lot.
Mhm.
Which is nice. The colors are nice. For some reason they use like the CG hands a lot when like
Oh,
sorting
okay.
sorting the tiles and stuff, which is like I feel like you don't really need to do that because like the hand movements for pushing tiles into the table is like your hands aren't really moving that much, like, but
Yeah.
whatever. The music is like really generic. The OP is straight up dog shit. If you want to give that a listen, it's straight ass.
What is it?
What is it called? It's Pon Popo Pon.
Jeez. Is
By
it sung by like the girls or something?
Kana Nakada. Yeah, I think it's sung by the cast, but
Uh,
it's like really like heavily auto-tuned and it just sounds like shit.
Yeah, there's been a lot of, or not a lot of, but there's been a lot more recently of where they just, like, if you have like cute girls or like isekai stuff, they just get the girls in the isekai, or harem or girls in a club just to sing the opening for the. God.
Yeah. The ED is a little bit better, but it's still pretty generic. But yeah. As for staff, I mean, this is Studio OLM. It seems like kind of a side project because what else are they doing this season? Oh, right, they're doing that. Damn.
Wait, what did they do?
Never mind. They're doing fucking what was this called again? Delusional Monthly Magazine.
Oh
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Oh no.
Although I think they're still continuing the second core for Apothecary Diaries as well. So but yeah. As for staff, I mean, there's like 8,000 producers on this thing because again, it's like some weird
Yeah,
multimedia project thing.
and it's probably getting tossed around to like $1 billion.
Yeah. The director, actually, the director is kind of interesting. Just like sort of looking at his career over the years. It's Tatsuma Mikawa. And he seems to have sort of, started with like early like Wit Studio and Troika stuff. He worked on like Alno Zero episode directing stuff. And then he sort of bounced around between like Shaft, Sunrise, A1, and David Production. And then I guess now he's at OLM, I guess, doing this. The last thing that he like main directed was what is this? The Vexations of a Shut-In Vampire Princess. I don't know if that was.
No, I think
I don't know if that was
Dark
any good or
covered that,
not,
right?
but
Yeah, I kind of hated that.
I think you covered.
yeah. So,
but I think you hated that mainly because of the source material, right? Not necessarily because of the audio stuff. Or
I hated it mostly because of potentially the directing. It depends. Depends on what the pacing was. The pacing was all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, I don't really see how much value this has, to be honest. Unless you're like genuinely fucking dopamine starved, and the only thing that gets you going is seeing
out the tiles.
Yeah, seeing cute girls smile. If you're one of those people that like cute girls doing cute things is like the only thing that gets you going, then
the only metric for whether a series is good.
Yeah, I guess this is for you. But if that's not really your tempo and you're actually like looking for mahjong, this really like there's nothing here for you, I think. Yeah. Pretty mediocre overall, I'd say.
Well, thank you very much. There, the Pon no Michi, Pon, Mahjong, part of a Mahjong multimedia franchise. It's kind of like how Mahjong Sol is. I don't know if they're connected. I don't think they are, right? I know again. Pon no Michi has a YouTube channel.
I don't think they're like directly connected, but
They might
I
have had like
know
collabs.
I know Yostar is a producer on this series. Because Mahjong Soul like does show up in this like show. I'm pretty sure it was in the PV. I'm pretty sure they play Mahjong Soul, so there's probably like some sort of corporate tie there somewhere. But I don't think there's like I don't think Mahjong Soul is like part of this like multimedia project. You know what I mean? I think they're kind of just like, hey, we'll pay you if you like put our game in your show, series, whatever, right? So
I think it is interesting, or not interesting, but it's I'm awaiting with somewhat moderate to stronger how these series will pan out. These sorts of series will be developed more in the near future because although probably the Mahjong Soul and this Ponomichi are not going to be successes in terms of how we think about I don't think these sorts of like mahjong series or trying to sell mahjong to like more anime VTuber sort of crowd, right? The otaku crowd is only going to get stronger and stronger. I think as the years go on, minus a huge cultural shift or whatever away from it. So I do think that eventually there's going to be some breaking point where there's going to be enough push and at a perfect timing, with a perfect audience, with a series that isn't complete mediocre pile of mediocrity.
yeah,
right?
I mean, I think
And
it just
something will
takes
break.
the right series, right? I mean, just look at
Yeah,
how many
yeah, yeah. They
people
just need to keep throwing.
bought guitars after fucking Bocce the Rock, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you just make the right show that's just like has mahjong in it,
Yeah. And isn't terribly directed. Yeah.
yeah, like
So yeah, I think it's definitely on the horizon, but again, the issue is they are always living in the shadow of those two giants. So
yeah, for sure.
anyway, very unfortunate. But what would you rate it? Here, mouse score, please.
I mean, I'd probably give like a 4 out of 10.
Okay, that's still pretty. I mean, honestly, that's better than or given what you said about the series.
Yeah, I
To
mean,
be
again,
honest.
I don't think it's like abjectly bad. I just think there's
Yeah,
not really much
there's
of
no
a
value.
reason to watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, exactly.